The controversial election amendment laws passed through the Senate a few days ago. They're controversial for many reasons, and one person who can help us unpack it is Senator Beatrice Elachi. She is the majority whip in the Senate and nominated senator. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Why do I say controversial and it amuses you?
Because I'm just wondering, what is controversial?
The one coalition has been opposed to it. The CORD has tried every way possible to block these amendments from going through.
Which it has a right to do that. But I think also one of the things I have not understood to date is that Jubilee is a government. And first of all, the issues of political party are not there because it deals with a government, with a civil service that has both those who believe in different ideologies. Having said that, I think the other thing is that when you look at our constitution is a more borrowed constitution from the US. So before I answer those questions, Trump is now coming to power. He's going to remove everything that Obama did. Hillary got 2.8 more votes. I doubt whether Americans will be asking Trump, why are you doing that? Have you consulted the more 2.8?
So are you implying that if Raila Odinga and CORD comes into power, that they can undo whatever they want to undo?
They will. They will, because they have to, they have said this is wrong, so they have to give Kenyans what they feel is right. So they have to undo. But one of the things that we appreciated as a country, because we are a country growing, we are not like America, is that we have a Vision 2030, and therefore you move on with what you found so that you build a country. But now let's go to the what is called controversial, which I don't know what is controversial. I think what everyone needs to debug is, number one, what we think was controversial is only Article the 44.
Yes.
The rest were issues where we can deal with them, and we've all agreed we have to deal with them when we are doing now the regulations.
So the controversial bits is the manual identification of voters and transmission of results.
First of all, the word manual.
Right.
And I want the media to help this country. Media, I am begging you today, help our country, because politicians can ban a country, yet you have an opportunity also to read and just. There's no word manual in the whole bill. There's no
It implies manual.
It doesn't imply.
In case technology fails.
It doesn't imply. Because today you have your phone, Larry, and if you want to walk into a polling station on 8th of August, and you find that you can't, your fingers are not functioning, you can use your phone to just do the same way IBC has told us. SMS this number, and you will know whether you're a voter. Ask that Kenyan, will he walk out of a polling station and go home because he could not get his fingerprints from a BVR?
So what you're saying, is this amendment does not.
I wish politicians would have agreed and give Kenyans a word.
You're saying two different things, Senator, here. You're saying two different things. One is, are you saying Larry, that this amendment does not foresee a situation where if the electronic identification fails, then it's a manual backup?
We are going right now to nominations. What are political parties going to use?
That's not a direct question, sir. That's not a direct answer, Senator.
It is a direct
because you said the bad manual does not exist there.
We are going to request.
But the reason why these amendments exist is so that to serve as a backup. We are going to
request IEBC to give us the photocopy of our BVR copy, which has your picture and everything, to use it in our nominations. Is that a manual book?
So that's a physical photocopy?
Photocopy.
Isn't that the same as manual?
It's manual. So do you want to tell me when we are using it during our nominations, it is right? But when we come now to the main election, you want to tell someone who has been in hospital, who cannot maybe walk and do her BVR or his BVR, cannot check, and we are all there, agents are there, observers are there. This is a photocopy. And see, this is Larry, his photo, his name. You can also decide, let us put the backup in a computer.
So that is
if we want to call them electronics, photocopy what's in a BVR, back it up in a computer. Let's have both computers there.
The reason why this is controversial, and you know this, is because it has been abused before to have dead voters miraculously show up and vote.
Which, I am very sorry to say this, every big tribe, be it the Kikuyus or the Luos, whenever both of them, they will do the same. Because when
does that make it right? Because both tribes will do that?
That is why I don't want any of the sides to come and tell Kenyans they have not been doing. First, they have been doing. Now we know it is wrong. So can we give? Because you can't tell me that our only alternative will be we must use our BV, our biometrics and EVID. I mean, we have to think as a country if indeed we really respect our country, if indeed we trust our country, if indeed we want to have a peaceful election.
The reason why these are controversial in court's argument is, one, to avoid dead voters showing up or people voting more than once, but two is that in the results transmission to avoid manipulation.
First of all, this time round, I think the register is more open, meaning come to June, every political party, and that's what happened in 2013, we had the register. Fine, IEBC will clean that register. Even when we'll be going to that election, we will have people who God will have taken to heaven or whatever. So they will die. We will still die. Even on the day of the voting, we will have those who will be leaving. But that does not mean we cannot have a backup when all over the world, I mean, it's Kenya that we want to try. I think people will come and benchmark to us after, because it will be very interesting. Even when you were in Dubai, when you took the plane, definitely they told you where there's something safety. Let's have safety. That's all we're asking. If we can use a phone, a satellite phone or whatever, electronic, that can please, let's have it, but let's have something so that we you know, right now, look at how we've struggled to have Kenyans to apply this IEBC. It's because anyone with a good career, Larry, will not allow himself to come and work for IEBC, where, you know, politicians don't say thank you, they abuse you, they can even ban you. So
it is your submission that these amendments are reasonable amendments that are necessary?
They are reasonable, and even if they go to court, definitely the court will think for something. Okay. All I'm saying, if we don't want to call it money or whatever, but have a backup.
If that is so, why did Jubilee bulldoze these through the National Assembly and through the Senate?
We didn't bulldoze. I think in
the Senate, for instance,
we never bulldozed.
In the Senate, court has complained that there was an illegality that allowed two nominated senators to vote.
We have been voting. I have been voting also. So if that day is when they realize there is a legality, and yet from 2013, Lesuda is from Samburu, she has been voting and voting. Leshore sent her even an SMS and say, vote for me. So what? I mean, for me, the frustration,
so you can trust,
and I want to bring it this way.
You can trust an SMS, but you can't trust an electronic transmission because you say it can be hacked.
Even Obama has no trust.
Hang on.
Obama, who have told Kenyans, or America, who has told us that electronic is the best. What did he say the other day? You even quoted in your own newspaper that he would rather trust a courier to take a letter. But that's not what Kenya we are saying.
No, I just want to follow this specific.
We are saying we trust everything. All we have to do, have safety. And I pray to God, Larry, that day it should not happen in a place where they were fighting like this.
I want to follow this thought process here briefly, because you said the Honorable Leshore sent Honorable Lesuda an SMS, which is an electronic transmission, and that's acceptable, but an electronic transmission of results is prone to manipulation or hacking. Do you see the double standard here?
There's no double standard, because there's a letter in Manu that was written in 2013 for Lesuda. First of all, the letter is there. Secondly, because he was not coming and nobody knew, I would say the same word, he gave a complimentary of the SMS.
So the complaint here is that Jubilee will completely rubbish any opposition to what it wants to do and go ahead and do it anyway.
Larry, we don't rubbish.
And because you've got the majority in the Senate and in the National Assembly, you can push it through.
Parliament is parliament. I am sorry, I did not bring democracy. Democracy says that we have the majority, we have the minority. And the majority at one point can also be both the minority together, because Senate is an institution. So if Senate is an institution, you saw Lonyangapo decided to vote no. So did we complain? No. But he's always on our side. We didn't complain. Mositet didn't vote. Did we complain? No. So I think we have to agree. There were those who felt this is right. There were those who felt I cannot do it.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
The nominated senator and majority whip in the Senate. We appreciate your time. Senator Beatrice Elachi with us, speaking about those controversial election laws, though you don't want me to call them that.
No, if they're controversial, we have courts. That's why we have courts.